Welcome back, my computer duders, to another episode of Monkey Penis Facts. Is that not what you're here for? You're on the wrong fucking channel! Did you know that humans have the largest penis proportional to their body out of the entire primate family? Well, now you do. You can never unlearn that. Also, that the primate with the smallest penis proportional to its body is the gorilla, who is only 2 inches erect. Maybe never say that to a gorilla. Like, don't go teach a male gorilla sign language for the sole purpose of telling it that it has the smallest penis out of all apes. Probably that would end badly. But I don't know for sure what the median size is. Maybe you do. Maybe you know what the median size of penises are for apes. Maybe you're a bigger expert on monkey penis than I am, and you were like, actually, humans and gorillas are apes, not monkeys. So you were wrong to call it monkey penis facts, sir. In which case, I would stand corrected and bow to your superior knowledge of the topic. So, recently, I was having one of those long, dark nights of the soul where you lay in bed at like 4 a.m. thinking about your past failures and humiliations. You know what that's like. Everybody knows what that's like. It can't just be me, otherwise I'm going to kill myself. But man, that's brutal. Like, for some people, it's just thinking about a joke they made that didn't go over well. But for me, it's always like, because, growing up autismal, you are going to accumulate a lot more humiliating moments than most people. Especially to do with girls. Because, like, girls at 20 have the emotional maturity of, like, a 40-year-old man. So, and that scales. And if you're a boy and autistic, forget about it. You're going to be like toddler level of emotional maturity until you're 30. So there were times when a girl was interested in me. God knows why. She would have to explain it to me at length for me to understand it. And I didn't pick up on it. And I would sometimes do or say insensitive, hurtful things that would hurt that girl's feelings just because I didn't understand that she was interested. Fuck, that's embarrassing. That is. If I would share details if I remember them, just so you could cringe with me, at me. Let's be fair. But the thing is, like, I don't think that's uncommon for men to own. It's like once you learn how to tell when a girl's interested, you go back and like perform a reanalysis of all your memories of interactions with women over the years. And you're like, oh shit. Like that time I went on vacation in Hawaii. I went on vacation twice in Hawaii because I'm a white privileged little piggy. And there were 2 situations where probably a girl wanted my dick, and I didn't recognize it, and I acted the fool because I didn't recognize it. Well, it's more like when your brain works that way, you seem stupid because you don't pick up on common sense stuff like that. But it's not that you don't notice it. It's that your brain comes up with like 1,000 possible interpretations of what has happened. And normal people who nature did not decide to play a cruel joke on, their brain has a mechanism which quickly Like, eliminates all the most unlikely interpretations and narrows it down to the most likely few. When you're a fucking Spurg, your brain doesn't have that. It's like a search engine where it returns a million results, and all the million results seem equally likely to be true. And then there's cowardice. Cowardice plays a role. Because you don't want to interpret it as interest if she's not interested and then be humiliated. So if you're a fucking coward, you're likely to preferentially choose any interpretation where she's not interested in you just because you don't want to be wrong about that. So anyway, the first one was this semi-hot girl, nice body, I would say like 6 or 7 out of 10 face. But I'm on vacation. When you're on vacation, your body's like, holy shit, you're somewhere new. Probably the people around here have different DNA than you and would have disease-resistant children. So I had a perma-boner the whole time. That's what travel does to my dick. It's like you're in a strange new land. Stick your cock into whatever warm, wet orifice you can find that doesn't try to fight you. So, she swam with me. I recognize now she was flirting. And when it came time to do a youth-only cave tour, where we crawled through a lava tube, and youth means like we were, I think, 14, 15 at the time, she joked about how it's dark in the cave, so if I were to touch her ass, she would forgive me for it, which was basically invitation to grope her ass in a cave. Usually to grope a woman's ass in a cave, you have to commit some serious crimes. But no. She laid it all out there for me, and I was like, that's funny, but then I kept my hands to myself and was perfectly behaved because I was scared. And then there was the girl who was in the hot tub with me, and just outside the hotel, they had like a hot tub. They had a pool and then they had a separated hot tub. And I guess she was feeling the same way. Like, she was in a new place, she was on vacation. Her standards were lower, must have been, because this girl was really hot. She looked like she was my age, but she looked like she had breast implants. I don't know if that's something that families do for teenage daughters. They shouldn't. But anyway, my dick was raring to go, and she was talking about how good it would feel to be in the hot tub naked, which I don't think she would be doing if she wasn't into me. And she was like asking me about my life and shit like why the fuck do you care? Well, because she was hoping to fucking and telling me like what her room number was, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll file that away. That's good to know. Like a fucking retard, which I semi was and am. Then there were situations I really regret more than anything, because I didn't just make an ass of myself, I hurt somebody's feelings. There was this girl I only recognized in hindsight. There were two girls that were actually both pretty good looking. Again, I benefited from being in a situation where I had a captive audience, where there was a limited number of guys in school, and only 2 or 3 of them, myself included, do not look like horrible potato mutants. So I went to this private fundamentalist Christian school, and one of these girls who liked me was apparently, I only learned on the last day of school because she was crying in the bathroom, and the other girls came up to harass me because they said that this girl had a crush on me for 3 years and I never acknowledged it, and she was really obvious. They're like, there's no way that you're possibly so stupid that you didn't notice. I'm like, I actually am that stupid. And the other girl, oh yeah, I had also passed on a rumor about her being interested in some other guy, which hurt her feelings because she was interested in me, and I bought into that rumor. But anyway, the other girl, I drew a portrait of her in art class because she volunteered to be the model. Not a nude model. This is a Christian school. This is a Christian channel. Not really. So she sits there on the stool, and I draw her. And the next volunteer model is a dude from the same class. So I draw him facing the other way, like sitting in a different way, on the other side of the piece of paper, because like a doof, I didn't bring my binder, and I had to borrow one piece of paper to do both drawings on. Then, not even realizing the emotional impact of what I was going to say, I was like, hey, look, if you hold the paper up to the light, it looks like the two are kissing, because the drawings would show through and overlap. Everybody laughs except for the girl who starts crying and the guy who I also drew who starts consoling her and assuring that he had nothing to do with it. And I'm sitting there wondering, why are these people going crazy? Why are they crying? Some of them are laughing. I don't understand. I just made an observation about how this drawing looks when held up to light. Fuck my stupid ass. If they ever see this, understand that in retrospect, having become a decent person since then, depending on your definition, I regret that. I regret doing stuff like that. And there's all sorts of shit that people did to me that was insanely hurtful because of I was like that. And at the time, I didn't realize that what I had done to make them hate me. So they just seemed to be random assholes. And I kind of have to forgive them for that because in retrospect, I realize what a difficult person I was to coexist with. Also, the other thing is, never take a kid to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii once when I was like 10, and the second time was when I was like 15. And both times, because I was fucking a spurg. Also, don't take anybody who's fucking autistic. They won't. If somebody's a spurg, they enjoy totally different things from a normal, healthy person that nature intended to be born. When you defied the will of nature by not aborting your autistic child, you brought these consequences on yourself. Namely, that if you take an autistic kid to Hawaii, he's not going to give a shit or be impressed by the natural beauty. Like, I wasn't. I went out on the beach and I was like, oh, look, this is a large quantity of sand. It is adjacent to an even larger quantity of water. I wish I was home playing Nintendo. Like, the way that, you know, it's like giving filet mignon to a toddler. He's not going to enjoy it. He would rather have chicken nuggets. Not because the chicken nuggets are better, but because kids have pleb tier taste and they like stuff that's easy to eat. But anyway, there was a weird 180, a total inversion, where I suddenly understood how unappreciative I was. And that happened when we went on a submarine tour. Now, you know, while I didn't give a shit about the natural beauty of Hawaii, I have always been, like, almost fetishistically fascinated by underwater technology. Not even underwater life, just the technology human beings use to survive for long periods in an environment that should kill them. Because that's like a triumph over forces that are normally lethal. It's why I got so obsessed with space and space travel. And why I got so obsessed with submarines, underwater habitats, scuba, submersibles, which are actually a different class of underwater vehicle. If it's not a military vehicle with like 100 guys on board, it's actually submersible. If it's purely battery powered and relies on a support vessel to carry it around. But anyways, the minute I found out we were going on a tour submersible, and it was an actual honest-to-God submersible, not one of those bullshit glass-bottom boats where you go down below deck and the bottom part of it has windows looking out into the sea. It wasn't some bullshit like that. It was a real submersible that could go 300 feet deep and had big windows all along either side, and you could listen to... I wasn't listening to the dude narrate shit on headphones. I didn't care about the marine life. Again, people who are fucking autismal enjoy stuff, but they enjoy totally different stuff that doesn't make sense to you if you're healthy. I enjoyed every minute of it because I was constantly aware of how difficult an engineering problem it is to keep, I think, 32 people, or no, it wasn't that many, it was like 18, comfortable, happy, and alive 300 feet below the surface of the ocean for like an hour and a half. And I was just constantly geeking out over how freaking incredible it was that we were down there. Meanwhile, he's like, oh, on your left you'll see a whale, and there's a fucking dolphin, and tropical fish. Those are tangs. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm in a submarine. And then I noticed I noticed, despite my raging submarine boner, that other kids were not appreciating the fact that they were aboard a modern technological marvel of underwater life support. They were ignoring everything. One of them was playing a Game Boy and I wanted to strangle him, and I was like, how can you be so indifferent to the miracle of the fact that you're not drowning right now? You're not drowning and we're 300 feet underwater and you're sitting in a comfy seat with air conditioning. How are you not amazed? And then in that moment I realized suddenly that's what I am like to my parents at the time and to other people in general, is that like they thought the same way about me because I didn't give a shit that I was in Hawaii. And I spent most of the time that I was in Hawaii in the hotel room with graph paper drawing out game levels that I wanted to make in Duke Nukem 3D when I got home. Because that was my big thing at the time, is I used level editors to make Doom and Duke Nukem 3D maps. I really got into sector-based map editing because it was really interesting, the challenge of creating complex level geometry when you couldn't build areas over other areas. It wasn't... Anyways, that was the waste of meat that I was, that I cared more about charting out levels I wanted to build on graph paper than I cared about the fact that I was in Hawaii. I didn't even look at the women. I was like, oh, they're scantily clad. It looks exactly like what I can see on the internet in 3 clicks or less. Why the fuck does autism exist? Why has it not been selected against? Because I'll tell you one thing. Like half of autistic people... Well, I should say men. Half of autistic men do not give a shit that women exist, and women are just totally irrelevant to their existence because their existence revolves around shit like retro computers and Legos and robots and game consoles. Like, the part of their brain that's supposed to make them desire women sexually instead makes them desire premium editions of game consoles from the 1980s and 1990s. Like I said, they enjoy different stuff. So, you know, there were women out on the beach with their tits out, sunbathing, and I was like, I wish I had a Game Boy right now. I want a Game Boy. I wish I was at home. I wish I was playing my Atari Jaguar, because yes, I had an Atari Jaguar. Of course I did. And I thought that was a good console. What a fucking way to grow up. Being like mentally half formed. You're not, you don't really, I mean, I did eventually mature, but at a slower rate. Like, I was always 10 years behind my peers in terms of relationship milestones and shit. Like, I'm only now holding long-term adult relationships. So it happens. It's just delayed. The part of you that's not delayed is your technical intelligence. You're like a child level emotional maturity, but you have the technical brilliance of like an 80-year-old engineer, which is a really revolting combination for most people. That's why most people do not like being around autists, because imagine being corrected constantly by somebody who, socially speaking, is beneath you and a complete derf, but then he turns around and makes you look stupid about some issue that you wanted to look smart about. It's like a clown calling you out on something. It's like, you know, nobody cares that Chris Chan... No, the better example is Olalilia. Olalilia is a cool guy. He's a YouTuber who has like 900 videos of him exploring glitches in Bubsy 3D and maxing out every character on Final Fantasy Tactics and Disgaea. But nobody fucking cares about that shit. It doesn't matter that he's so incredibly talented at this one specific thing. And he's been making the same video game for 12 years now. I think more like 15 since I last checked. And he just makes incremental progress on it and then makes videos on whatever little thing he added. Because he just gets enjoyment from the feedback about the game. He's like those authors who go to parties to talk about the book they're writing. And they never actually finish it. They're like Brian from Family Guy. They just get pleasure from saying they're an author and talking about the book they're going to write and how amazing it's going to be. And having people they talk to comment on how brilliant their ideas are, without ever having to put in the effort of actually finishing a book and putting it in front of people for critical analysis. That's why people are wrongly impressed by the fact that I've published so much stuff. It's not hard. It's not hard. You know what the secret is? You got to realize no matter what you write, once there's enough of it, it's a book. There's no rules that say it has to be good. You just have to trust that whatever you come up with is going to be good. And if you get all anxious about, oh no, what if I suck? Then it's going to make you second guess every word you put down on paper. And you'll never finish anything. If you just fucking plow ahead and write what you want to and don't care about whether it's any good or not, guess what? You will get practice writing. And you will get good that way. You just have to let go of the fantasy that the first thing you ever write is going to be a masterpiece. But yeah, monkey penises. Back to the important topics of our day. Do you think we'll ever cybernetically enhance monkeys? Would it be funny? Because I've seen monkeys trying on the Oculus Rift and being really confused and blown away. I've seen even dogs. Like, it's real enough that it fools animals. They think they're really seeing something. Like, they look around and they get up and they get startled when something in the game approaches them. So it's at a level where it can fool animals. What about cybernetics? Because I've seen monkey brains connected by surgery to robot arms that they use to feed themselves. So if you were to like make a monkey RoboCop, because their laws are not as stringent about testing cybernetics on like a capuchin or spider monkey as they are on humans, could you make like a monkey where 90% of its body was robotic body parts? And if so, would that conceivably include a telescopic rocket-powered super penis? Would it be ethical to unleash that fucking machine onto the world, not knowing the extent of its fuckery? What if it had like an internal reservoir for liquid, for like two reservoirs, one of them for cocaine and the other for Viagra, just so it's always fucking hyped up and always has a monkey boner, a robotic monkey boner? Think about it. I mean, I know this is like heavy philosophical stuff, but I mean the implications alone are mind-boggling, and if I dare say, tantalizing. I can't be the only one. Did I already convert all of my iron into buckets? If so, I'm going to be mad at myself. And also, I don't mean to sound greedy or anything, but I really fucking need a lot of iron. And I'm lazy. I don't want to have to build a golem farm. Is there any better way to get a lot of iron in this game? I don't think there is. I think basically you have to go through all the steps of making a golem farm if you ever want to automate your iron production to where it's even halfway acceptable. Which is gonna suck dick, because I've seen what golem farms look like on YouTube. I know that that's, you basically have to give up your life and just dedicate yourself to learning how to build Minecraft technology. Why did I put the potato in the... Why do I do anything that I do? It's been a constant theme in my life, trying to psychoanalyze my own bad decisions. Why didn't I grope that girl's ass in that cave? She clearly said it would be okay if I groped her ass. And afterwards, she was like disappointed, and she was like, it'd be cool if I could see you again. I'm staying at this hotel. We're gonna go to this luau, tomorrow night. Maybe you could show up. And I'm like, yeah, you too. Whatever the fuck that means. I have a real hard time believing natural selection would select autistic men for anything other than death, other than being lion food, because we're possibly the worst at getting laid. I've slept with some inexplicably beautiful women. I think I must have tricked them somehow. But every time it had nothing to do with me. Like, I stumbled ass backwards onto women who seemed to like me no matter what I did or said. Like, they say be yourself, and that almost never works. But there's people with whom it does work, who, for some reason, they find it refreshing and interesting. Maybe for scientific reasons. They're interested in how your brain works, and they find you like a beautiful, nuanced, unusual person. I think when I lived in Florida, number one, Florida has a lot of uncommonly beautiful women in it. I think there's like a selective breeding program, I think, that they keep hidden just so that they have a never-ending supply of good-looking Disney princesses for the theme parks. But there's a lot of really gorgeous, blonde, stacked, juicy, stacked, jiggly, fucking top-heavy girls in Florida. Like, you wouldn't believe. And the competition, in terms of other men, is not very difficult to outshine. Like, the men there, you're dealing with, like, slobs that go around who struggle to satisfy the most basic standards of society, like no shirt, no shoes, no service. Very frequently, their dress code is swim trunks, even if they're not swimming. Like a dirty wife beater and flip-flops. And these are people who have money. A lot of them are on meth, and I don't know how this happens. How do the men exist at that standard when the women are so much hotter? I don't know, but anyways, I guess I must have been a novelty because I had opposable thumbs and all my original teeth and the correct number of toes. So they have thought that was pretty fucking wild. Like, hey, here's a guy who has DNA that is not likely to result in a mutant flipper baby. I should get all gross with my fucking Sarlacc pit woman parts and try to trap his Boba Fett penis at the bottom of that Sarlacc pit. I don't know how far I can take that analogy. I think I've maxed it out. Vaginas are repulsive, right? I'm not ruling out that I'm gay because I'm not afraid of that. I have a lot of gay friends and I live in the most gay friendly part of the country. But I've tried watching gay porn and I get like 3 seconds into it and start retching. So I don't like men's bodies. I like women's bodies 90%, except for the snatch. That it's like some sort of gross aquatic plant. It's like this shit that when you're 5 years old, you're afraid is hiding in your closet and it's gonna come out at you and be get inside me, Billy. Return from whence you came. It was always going to end this way. Life is a circle. Accept it, Billy. But no, I love titties. I really love titties, which makes me worry that I'm immature because Freud identified different stages of maturity, of development, and I think being fixated on breasts is being stuck in the oral phase of development where your instincts are still telling you to breastfeed, and then you're supposed to move on to the the anal stage of development, where children become preoccupied with their shit, which causes men to be obsessed with women's asses. And it's like you become interested in different parts of women as you mature through these different stages. And if you become, but then again, Freud had a lot of bullshit ideas, and it only gets listened to because he was the only one who even tried to make psychology into a formal science during that era. Everybody else was like, hey, why don't you put some leeches on your dick and do cocaine about it? Because I gotta tell you, your fucking your brain is haunted. It's haunted as shit. There's a lot of things you can fix by doing cocaine about it. Like your addiction to cocaine. Anyways, this has been another episode where I get dick all done and instead walk around talking about bullshit. I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't know why you would. Everything everybody else does is as much a mystery to me as my own pattern of bad life choices. I'm pleased with, though. This was a good idea, right? Am I right? Because think about how many times it's a problem if you're some kind of pleb who only lives in the overworld most of the time, when you run out of fuel. Now, absolute turbo plebs who don't know their ass from their elbow will go and mine coal, and they'll have fuel shortages. Now, level 2 plebs, which are slightly less retarded, like they still try to eat their shirt, but they don't shit on it first. They will use lava deposits from their mine as a fuel source. But the fucking patricians, the giant brain, giant dick, like level 50 patricians will build a dedicated lava harvesting colony in the Nether for the express purpose of having a never-ending source and easy access to the most energy-dense fuel in the game. Like, this was the plot of Doom. The plot of Doom was that humanity was tapping hell for energy, and that's what I'm fucking doing, and without any consequence. Well, not without consequences. I've been killed a few times. It's going pretty fucking well, though, all things considered. I didn't say considering. What you said it. It was you. I was pretty surprised at you as well. I really thought more highly of your grasp of the English language than that. We'll just keep it between us, though. So, anyways, that's it for this time. Click like and subscribe. I've managed to add 9 new viewers in the past 10 months. If I manage to add 10 viewers in 1 year, it's gonna be a really sad party. I'm gonna like make myself a small piece. It's not even gonna be a cake. It's gonna be like a 7-Eleven brownie or like muffin. It's gonna be a bran muffin from like a gas station with a single candle in it, that the kind you can't put out, and I'm gonna deliberately fail to put it out just to express what a meager accomplishment it is. I don't know how I'm supposed to change that. For one thing, all my content's wildly inappropriate, and I don't know how to be any other way. So I'm going to get demonetized if I try to monetize any of my content anyways. But I feel like I could make some amount of money before YouTube notices me. I think they have AI for that now. I'm pretty much doomed. I'm fucked. I was fucked from this. I came out of the womb fucked. There's nothing I can do to make money with this channel. I'm talking to nobody. It's free therapy, I guess. This is like Tom Hanks when he talked to that volleyball on the island, and then we never got to see that the volleyball had like a hole in the back of it, like a fleshlight, so Tom Hanks could fuck its butt, because that was cut. That was in the R-rated version of the film, but you know it was there, because when you're Tom Hanks and you're stuck on an island and all you have is Wilson the volleyball, you're gonna try to have sex with it, because that's just human nature. And you're gonna do a good job, because humans have proportionally the largest penises of all primates.